Hello, I'm Susan Woods of Susan Woods Nonprofit Solutions. Thank you for your time. I am continuing the Black Lives Matter investigations, and this is part 2 of the investigative series. In part 2, I'm focusing on Black Lives Matter nonprofits. And these are the Black Lives Matter nonprofit organizations that actually went through the Form 1023 application for recognition of exemption application process with the IRS and earned 501c3 status. So in this part 2, Black Lives Matter nonprofits, I'm focusing on their reputations, their status, and what they are doing in the Black community. Before I go into part 2, though, please allow me just a few moments to review part 1. Remember, in part 1, we focused on the Black Lives Matter chapters that are underneath the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. So again, the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation has chapters. And if Black Lives Matter Global Foundation, if the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation had a formal structure, then the chapters would be listed underneath the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation heading, like a hierarchy. Unfortunately, as we learned in the investigations, there is no structure. Black Lives Matter doesn't have a structure. So therefore, I can't show you a hierarchy because there is not one to show. But that's how it is supposed to be set up, I believe, as a structured organization. And it's clearly not. But nevertheless, if you want to see the list of chapters for Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, go to www.blacklivesmatter.com and you will see a list of chapters. And here they are. Here are the chapters. There's a chapter in Boston, Massachusetts, Chicago, Illinois, Washington, D.C., Denver, Colorado, Detroit, Michigan, Los Angeles, California, Lansing, Michigan, Long Beach, California, Memphis, Tennessee, Michigan State, Nashville, Tennessee, New York, New York, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, South Bend, Indiana, Toronto, Canada, Vancouver, Canada, and Waterloo, Canada. These are the 17 chapters underneath the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. I've completed investigations on all of these chapters, and you can find the results on this YouTube channel. If you just search for the name of the chapters, you will see the video that shows the results of the investigations. Now, here are the investigation results for the chapters in a snapshot. This is part 1 of the results. And here I've listed the Global Network Foundation. Even though it's not a chapter, I wanted you to see the results of my investigation. So I have the Global Network Foundation, Boston, Chicago, DC, Denver, Detroit, LA, and Lansing listed here. Now, the topics that I investigated were leadership names, mailing address, phone number, email or social media, charity navigator, GuideStar, Secretary of State, IRS 501c3 status, donations accepted or not, the donations processor, and then where is the money? I ask where is the money because there is no transparency or accountability among any of these chapters. In other words, when people give the money to Black Lives Matter chapters or even to the Global Network Foundation, there is not any proof or evidence of where the money goes. So we don't know where the money goes. As you look at the results on the snapshot, you will be able to see that we have a lot of ends, meaning there is no information provided to cover those topics in the investigation. And none of the chapters, as I said, and not even Global Network Foundation, show where they use the money that people donate to these chapters. So this is the first part, part one of the investigations that go all the way through these chapters that are listed here. Part two, pretty much the same thing. And if you're wondering what the R/W means, the R/W means that the New York chapter did have 501c3 status, but the R means it's revoked. The IRS revoked the status of this particular chapter. In addition, the letter W means it's with, I'm sorry, the letter W means that the chapter withdrew from being a part of the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. So they are technically not affiliated with the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. However, they are still listed on the blacklivesmatter.com website as a chapter. But on the New York City Black Lives Matter website, there's a statement stating that they have been, they withdrew from being a part of the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. A reason was not provided. And here is the third part of the investigations of the chapters: Vancouver, Waterloo, and Michigan. Michigan was added last because Michigan became a formal so-called chapter after I started the investigations. This chapter was added under the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation in the latter part of June. So I just tagged it on here. But again, I just wanted to step back for a moment to review the investigation results for the Black Lives Matter chapters. Now, I would like to focus on part two of the investigation, which is Black Lives Matter nonprofits. And again, these are the Black Lives Matter chapters that actually earned 501c3 status through the Internal Revenue Service. So I'm going to pause for just one moment because, you know, if you've been following these videos, you know I like to show and prove the information that I share. So just one moment, I'm going to go to IRS and I'm going to show you the chapters that have earned 501c3 status in the past. So just one moment as I go there. I've already gotten it queued up for you, so you don't have to wait for me to find it. So thank you for your patience. I'm going to resume the screen in just one moment as I show you or share this information with you. Now, I am on the irs.gov website, and I am on the page called Results for Tax Exempt Organization Search. Anytime you want to check the status of an organization that claims to have 501c3 status, all you have to do is follow these steps. Go to irs.gov, which is home, then find the charities and nonprofits link, and then click on search for charities, and then click on tax exempt organization search, and you will get this page. I decided to search by organization name shown here, and I typed in Black Lives Matter as an organization. And if you've been following these videos, you've seen me go here several times. So now there are 13 results for Black Lives Matter. And Black Lives Matter in different formats. It doesn't have to just be Black Lives Matter. As you can see, there are different names, but they include the words Black Lives Matter. So you have Black Lives Matter, Charleston, South Carolina, which is revoked. Anytime you see auto revocation list underneath the name of a Black Lives Matter entity, that means the IRS revoked the status. They do not have 501c3 status. Middleburg, Florida doesn't have it. Denver, Colorado doesn't have it. Canyon Country, California, it has the status, still active. Vancouver, Washington, Winooski, Vermont, Atlanta, Georgia, Bronx, New York, they've been revoked, as well as Atlanta, Georgia, Zion, Illinois, Riverside, California, Seattle, Washington, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and Burlington, Vermont. So I'm going to complete an investigation on all of these 501c3 nonprofit organizations that are considered Black Lives Matter entities. So that's what part 2 will consist of, an investigation of all of the nonprofit Black Lives Matter chapters. So now I'm going to pause the screen and I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint and finish up. Thank you for your patience. Okay, so now I'm back again. And again, the focus going forward is on Black Lives Matter Investigations Part 2, the Black Lives Matter nonprofits. So once again, Black Lives Matter 501c3 nonprofit organizations are here, and the source is irs.gov, as you just saw. Charleston, South Carolina, Middleburg, Florida, Denver, Colorado, Canyon Country, California, Vancouver, Washington, Winooski, Vermont, Atlanta, Georgia, Bronx, New York, Zion, Illinois, Riverside, California, Seattle, Washington, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Burlington, Vermont. Those were the Black Lives Matter 501c3 nonprofit organizations that I'm going to investigate in part 2. So where do I stand? Where do I stand with Black Lives Matter as a Black woman born and raised in South Carolina? I support the Black Lives Matter statement of fact. I know Black Lives Matter. Yes, I believe that. I know that. I do not support the Black Lives Matter movement, chapters, or entities because they do not have formal leadership structure, measurable goals or objectives, common operational practices, financial transparency or accountability, or valid sustainability and long-term plans. I cannot support an organization that is so weak. We can't even call them organizations, really, except the ones that have earned 501c3 status, and some of those are revoked, as you saw. There is no structure. There's no leadership structure. But yet this organization, primarily the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, is accepting millions of dollars from people who really believe they are helping the Black community. And that's what makes me so sad and angry, because it is the ultimate betrayal of the Black community to have an organization with worldwide notoriety receiving millions of dollars supposedly to help the Black community. And there's absolutely no accountability for the money. I know there are Form 990s, and I'm going to get to that with Act Blue and Thousand Currents. I have been doing a lot of research on those two money processing entities. But I haven't seen anyone able to tell me exactly how their Black community benefits from Black Lives Matter at all. So that's where I stand with Black Lives Matter. So coming up next in Black Lives Matter nonprofit investigations, North Charleston, South Carolina. I'm going to investigate the status of North Charleston, South Carolina, try to get some background information on why the IRS revoked the status. Again, I'm Susan Woods of Susan Woods Nonprofit Solutions, conducting the Black Lives Matter investigations. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great day.